Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this late edition of the WREXtra Time. This is the local pundit. I am Paddy Power, and we are having some technical difficulties. And you can probably see that my camera is going a little crazy and glitching out. But Ken assures me that my sound is good, so we'll just have to forget about my glitchy face and pretend like it's not happening. So, welcome, Ken. How are you doing?
Yeah, and it's not a glitchy camera, Paddy. It is you frothing with excitement for the semi-final.
Yes, we are in the semis. Okay, ladies and gents, I am going to put in our link to the stream for anybody who wants to come in tonight. Let's get straight into it because we have already, unfortunately, wasted a little bit of time. And I know some people may miss out on this now because I did say the show was cancelled. And it was for a few minutes, but then we got things working at least somewhat, and we're gonna do it because I was getting lots of comments in the Discord saying, "We miss you, Paddy. You have to come back, Paddy. You can't not give us a show, Paddy."
And in
So
fairness to you, Paddy, we cancelled that one. This is the new and improved WREXtra Time.
yes. So for anybody who doesn't know, we had a match tonight. We played a Bolton in the Bag of Donuts Cup, but we maybe will start calling it by its real name, the Vertu Trophy, now that we have a semi. And it's a
Yes.
semi versus Peterborough, my favorite team to beat in this league. So they are our semi-final opponents. We will be playing them at home. And if we beat them like the dogs that they are, then we should end up in a Wembley final versus Birmingham, our little arch nemesis with their American owners. I don't say that in a bad way because we got American owners too. But that would be the biggest final that you could pick this season. So welcome everybody. Welcome. Definitely now that we've lost some people, guys, please do try and jump in, even if it's only for 5-10 minutes. Because if we have no guests, we don't really have a WREXtra Time show. You hear me talk all the time. You hear Ken talk all the time. You can never shut him up sometimes. So now this is your show. So we need some guests. So seeing as I have a little bit of time,
so Paddy can kick me out.
So let's say hello to the chat because we have only a few here at the moment. We have Aaron is here, but he's not really here. He should be here, but he's got better things to do, maybe like earning money and working hard for a living. Hello, Aaron. See you later next show, maybe. Yes. Welsh Techie is in the house. It's Maz Headroom. I'm missing the joke there. Maz Headroom. I don't get that. Come on in and tell me what that means, Welsh. Yeah. Okay, we have a new guest. Teioh. Whoever that is. I don't even know how to say that either. Maybe it's Welsh, maybe it's not. But he thinks the same thing, so he obviously knows what it means.
Max, yeah, and it's over my pay grade. I'm not that smart.
Aaron down with the Posh. Sean Barnett Evans, the show must go on. Yes, absolutely. Woody with a semi from Windsor. One more win and we go to Wembley. Yeah, one more. Matt from Racecourse is here. Ollie Ratbone for Prime Minister. Changed the game again. Yes, he did, but he did also have some wayward passes in this match. But nobody was showing for the ball. And that is something we will be talking about. Okay, now we've got an answer. Max Headroom, an old sci-fi TV show. Ah, this is the glitchiness. I guess this is something sci-fi-esque from that old TV show.
Oh, it was. I think they did a Coca-Cola ad with him too or something, Paddy.
Okay.
I remember seeing it now. Yeah.
Still no idea. That has gone way over my head. Max Headroom from the 80s. I'm an 80s child, and I do not believe I have ever seen or heard of that show. So, sorry, guys. Claire Marie, not Marie Claire, Claire Marie, is laughing, so she obviously knows.
Yep.
Brian Chang, maybe we will talk about this a little bit later. We'll discuss Longman. He wonders why he's not being used on the left.
Well, he's playing well on the right.
Yeah. Sean Bartlett Evans, laugh out loud at semi. Well, I'm easily amused, so
Well,
I enjoy that one.
Josh did that joke the other week, and it went straight over my head. I didn't even get it. I missed it. So yeah, and he had to tell me the joke so that I got it.
The Mountie. Okay, interesting. Maybe a Canadian fan. One step from Wembley, boys. Yep, one more step till Wembley. And again, Max always had a video stutter. Okay.
Yeah.
Match frozen, match headline. Okay, so what we are going to do for a couple of minutes is we're going to stop talking about a TV show that I don't understand, and we are going to pull up the table and the matches from today.
Do you want me to grab one of them, Tony?
If you have them, pull them up. If not, I can do it.
Which one would you like first?
I just pulled them all up and we can go through them.
Okay, well, I can only pull up one at a time, but that's okay. I'll pull up. So you want table or matches?
Pull them up individually if you have them. Whatever you want.
Okay, here's the table.
Okay.
And I'll go to the top of the table first. So there you go.
Okay, so Birmingham is still in number 1, as we knew. Wickham in second, 59 points, 4 ahead of us because they didn't play. Wrexham is... Oh, yes. Wrexham are currently in third. Are all matches finished?
Yes, Paddy. Thank you, Bristol Rovers.
Bristol Rovers.
Probably should do the matches first, shouldn't we?
I'm here now.
Okay. Fair enough. Touching buttons.
Yeah. Buttons. So let's not bury the news. Stockport lost, so they remain in 4th place. We have 2 matches. Oh, draw. Okay. Sure. So they we have 2 games in hand on Stockport, who is 1 point behind us. So we have a chance to pull that back, and we need the points anyway because we need to be catching up on Wickham. Right, then we have Charlton, Huddersfield, Leyton Orient, Bolton, Reading, Barnsley, Blackpool in the top half. After that, you're pretty much not going to get anywhere near us. Then down the bottom, we have Cambridge United right on their own. 23 points. Burton, 26 points. They're doing okay. Crawley Town, 27 points. Shrewsbury, 27 points. And then our old pals, Peterborough, have 30 points, and they are in 20th. The last safe spot just above the relegation zone. Now, maybe it's not so likely, but Crawley Town have 1 game in hand over Peterborough and could match them on points. But goal difference will hold Peterborough away for just a little bit. But if they sink any lower, if their form does not change, they could very easily be in the bottom 4. And a question for them. Sorry?
I was going to say the team I think they should be most scared of is Burton.
Oh yeah.
They can score goals now.
Yeah.
They got God now.
And they have not lost in the last 5. 3 wins, 2 draws.
Yeah.
And I did notice that our old pal Bud Bartson was in the team of the month.
Good on him.
Yeah, so excellent for him. So this actually brings up an interesting question. Do Posh have the time to be putting out a first 11 team for the semi-final of this trophy? Now, it's potentially the only thing they can win this year. But are they so close to relegation that it's actually dangerous for them to put out a first 11 for a midweek match in between all the other matches that are coming up? So will they go full strength? Maybe not. I'm pretty sure we will at this point.
Be a risk
near enough. It would be risky.
Yeah.
Especially if you assume Birmingham's going to be your final. You know what I mean? For Posh, you have to kind of think that the likelihood of getting through both us and Birmingham to get a trophy is minimal. So should they be putting out their full 11? Not that I'm worried about their full 11, because their full 11 at the moment is doing absolute dog shit. So,
Yep.
but should they anyway?
Who knows? Who knows? People
Who
jump
knows?
on in. Aaron's teasing you there. Jump on in. The link's there. Paddy doesn't bite. I might, but that's okay. If someone jumps in, I'll jump out.
Okay, so if you want to pull up the individual matches there, we can go over them briefly while we're waiting for our first guest. Come on, guys, first guest.
Yeah, jump in, people. Jump in. Don't be afraid. As I go for the matches. Share screen. Here we go. Okay, here you go, Paddy. So this morning's League One games, Birmingham v Cambridge.
4-0.
Big win, 4-0. Charlton.
Yeah, it's about time they took someone out 4-0.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and then Charlton got the late one, 89th minute against Peterborough to win 2-1. And Peterborough got a red card as well. So that means whoever that was, and actually I can probably click on that and we can find out who had the red card. Fernandez.
Okay.
Okay. So, and then we had Leighton Orient, Mansfield. Oh, poor old Mansfield. There's the two teams in this league that are really struggling at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Mansfield have done so much that they're comfortable anyway for the rest of the season. They're losing their promotion playoff charge at this stage. It's looking like they're not going to make any playoffs unless they have a really big turnaround. But they're comfortable enough to stay away from the relegation, so they'll be happy enough with any sort of mid finish.
Yeah,
I guess.
And the other team on the slide at the moment, Paddy, is Barnsley.
Yeah,
4 losses and a draw in their last 5. But Reading 1-1 against Shrewsbury.
That's good for us too. Keep them back just a little bit.
Yep. Keeps them on 46 points. Crawley Town, a couple of late goals to win 3-1 against Stevenage.
Yeah.
Which obviously puts them only 3 points behind Posh.
Yes.
With the game in hand.
Exactly.
Yep. Blackpool and Rotherham, exciting 0-0 draw.
0-0 draw. Well, draws are good for us.
And then the last game, Bristol Rovers v Stockport, and I'll click on that one as well because what you'll notice there is Stockport scored in the 53rd and Bristol scored in extra time.
Ouch. Last minute. Kind of.
Yeah. So what a great that was a good day for us really in terms of the league.
Yeah, it was absolutely. Because there was an opportunity for Stockport to go ahead of us on points with their games in hands. That unfortunately has not happened for Stockport. About time they slipped up. They've been playing too well.
They have been playing well, haven't they?
Yeah, look, I always ask, well, what's the biggest Hollywood story we can have at the end of the season? Well, I can guarantee you ending up in the playoffs final versus Stockport would be one of those, and I do not want to see it.
Or Birmingham, I guess, with Tom Brady.
Well, yeah, but Birmingham, look, the chances of that are so minor.
Yeah, they're probably not going to make the playoffs, are they?
Yeah.
Well, they're probably not going to make the playoffs because they won't need to be in the playoffs.
Okay, so that's the league. League is taking care of itself for the moment. Both ourselves and Wickham have games in hand. Stockport is behind us. Charlton is on 50. So they're 5 points behind us. It's a bit of a gap. It's not as big as you might like it, but it's still pretty comfortable.
All wins and a draw in their last 5, Paddy.
Yeah. And Huddersfield isn't doing great either. 2 draws out of the last 5.
Yeah.
And they're on 49 points with no game in hand on us. So they're 6 points behind us. We're in good shape. We're in nice good shape. If we keep our wins going we have time to make up the 4 points. So I'm quite happy about that.
Yeah.
Now, as for tonight's topic, because we are playing in the cup, not in the league, Welsh Techie has said he has been to Wembley with Wrexham now 4 times, won once and lost 3 times. Not a happy place for him.
Welsh Techie, you're banned.
Well, now, in fairness, people are talking about going to Wembley twice this year, in quick succession. I'm not talking about going to Wembley twice because I don't want to go there the second time. I'm happy enough to go there for the cup and play Birmingham, and if we lose it in the final, say la vie. I don't want to be in the playoffs and lose in a final at Wembley. I don't care to who it is.
Play Birmingham in the final of the Vertu Cup, and Birmingham and Wrexham, the 2 auto promo sides out of League One.
Yeah,
there's a great story.
That is a story. It is, absolutely. If the 2 of us were 1 and 2 in the league as we're playing the cup final, yeah, that would be a massive story. And the 2 American teams.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Actually, Paddy, you mentioned to me about the fact that you're not too worried about catching Wickham just yet, and I understand that. And Catalyst Gaming has nailed that for you. Wickham have yet to play 8 of the top 10 teams. They just have an easier march when we have a tough games.
So, yeah, absolutely. Because they still have Birmingham. That match got delayed for them. And then they still have most of the other big teams. They got Huddersfield. They've got ourselves, obviously.
Yeah,
and a few others.
We've got to go to them and play them there.
We've got to go to them and play them. And look, even if that's a draw and does nothing to the table between the 2 of us, so be it. We can still take the 4 points elsewhere. So, yeah, we're in good shape. Absolutely, we're in good shape there. So let's hit a few more comments here. Now, Posh cannot afford to risk a cup run. That would be the standard mentality, I think. Is the cup just can't be important when you're fighting relegation.
No.
And there's another couple of matches before that cup comes along. Can you pull that up and check, actually? Who have they got left to play, and who do we have to play before that cup? Is it just one match each?
Well, no, we've got Northampton this weekend. Then we've got Leyton Orient next week. And I will. Well, actually, let's have a look. If I click on. Here we go, Paddy. Let's bring that in. We have got to play Northampton on the weekend, Leyton Orient. So Northampton away, Leyton Orient at home next week. And then I'm not too sure. What date is the semi-final? That's what I don't know. Those dates were announced and I can't remember. I thought it was a midweek game. Or was it? No, it's a Saturday game, the semi-final. So while Paddy's looking that up, we've got Northampton, Leyton Orient, and Mansfield and Bolton are our next 4 matches. And then if I go back, and go back to the table, and let's have a look at Peterborough. What have Peterborough got coming up? Peterborough have got Stevenage, Huddersfield, Shrewsbury, Blackpool in their next 4 matches, but it's just a matter of when the semi-final is. 2 weeks' time, Jonathan Griffiths is saying. It's a Wednesday.
Yeah, so they're going to be playing Huddersfield then.
So they've got Stevenage this weekend and Huddersfield next weekend, and then they'll play us. So Stevenage, Huddersfield for Peterborough?
Yeah. So they'll probably be coming off a Huddersfield loss.
Possibly. And maybe in the relegation zone.
and could be in the relegation zone by that point. Yeah.
Which might totally change the lineup that they decide to play.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we have got Northampton, Wrexham, and Mansfield before that. So we got a full lit of games. Three games before that.
Yeah.
But the squad, we're using more of the squad.
Yes, we are. So I think it's about time to move on to today. Come on, guys. No guests coming in today?
No guess today. No one likes us.
Right. So Michael says Wembley would be great. Can we beat Birmingham, honestly? Yes, but it's probably not that likely. Can we beat them? Yes. They are not so good of a team that we can't beat them. We have beaten championship teams before in cup runs. We have drawn with championship teams, so we can step up to the plate and maybe we can take it down to the wire and maybe we can steal a win there. But most likely, yeah, look, let's be honest about it. Birmingham will probably take it in that match. But
you think yeah, okay.
But the fight that we do see in the big matches could potentially win it for us. So it's not out of the question. It's not like we're playing a Prem team or whatever, that are miles and miles ahead of us with the tiniest chance. We can beat Birmingham on a day, especially when a draw is good enough. If you draw it and keep pushing it, it goes to penalties. That's also a shot. Now I'm sure they'll have a great team for penalties. But actually, I would fancy Okonkwo to pull something out in a penalty scenario. Okay. Maybe it won't. Maybe it wouldn't be enough. Maybe it would. Who knows? But he's a keeper. I would fancy giving a shot to in a penalty shootout.
Yep.
But anyway, that's the future. And now we're going to talk about the past today. So first question here. Let's start with this from Chris. So what the hell happened in the first half today? First half was a mess. It was an absolute mess. Once again, we were trying to play out. We were trying to pass long passes, mistaken passes into dead space, mix-ups. It was a nightmare. Now, I'm not necessarily going to put it on individuals who made bad passes here, because consistently through a lot of the match, nobody was showing for the ball. At most, one person, the most obvious pass, was half showing that they wanted the ball. They weren't even in a great position to receive the ball. So we were trying to play around the back today, and I didn't like it. It made me nervous with the mistakes that were happening. Now, Bolton made a couple of their own mistakes, and some of the good things we did was interceptions and pushing and getting in between some of their passes as well. But they are a much more fluid team passing the ball around. They had very little discomfort in passing the ball around in their own third and getting out of tight situations with 3 passes. It was never one pass. It was set up of 2 or 3 passes every time to work a drilled, obvious move that they do. They were moving into positions for 2, 3 quick touches to move it out of that position, which is somewhere we really need to get to as a team. Simple 1-2s like that, we really need to drill them much, much better. We are not comfortable.
No, I'd agree with you there. I think just the way we played that first half, Paddy, we were just lacking in the final third. We didn't have the finishing quality. Fale is just a little bit away still, in my opinion. I think he's trying to do the really fancy moves all the time, the flicks, the turn and pass with the ball in one motion. And I'm not bagging him for that. It's a guy in evolution of his development as a player. Yeah, and Marriott not fully back up to speed yet, but looking pretty good, to be fair. Just not lacking the finishing stuff at the moment.
Yeah, Marriott seemed to be getting into some decent positioning. But again, like a lot of our strikers, he seemed to be very isolated, out on an island on his own, which is happening far too much to our strikers.
Well, that looked like that, but didn't that change in the second half?
Yes. Yes.
Mm.
So sticking with the first half just for a minute.
Yeah.
Some notes I wrote down. At 4 minutes, so early, we were sitting so deep and letting them push and pressure us. They were calling it out on the commentary box. We were sitting in our own box and allowing them to walk up to us and basically get ready for a shot, which was crazy so early. Okonkwo had to make that save to tip it over the post at 5.5 minutes. It was a lovely ball in. It did curl and curve, but I would dictate and argue that he should have seen that a bit sooner. You know, he wasn't positioning himself for that type of danger, and it was a last second. Oh, this is moved. That made it uncomfortable, and then he almost injured himself, hitting the post. So Okonkwo will be one of the topics we'll hit on later with some of the topics. Playing out from the back was poor again. I mentioned this at the start of the season, very early when we were looking at the other matches, and I was saying teams are getting caught playing out from the back around their box because they are not good enough. The teams are too weak to play this tippy-tappy around their own box. And we were trying it a little bit around, and we're too weak as well. We are not good enough and comfortable enough to know exactly where the balls are going, and they're not being weighted very well. And it's just lack of repetition. They don't do it often enough that they're not happy.
Yeah. A super chat there, Paddy from Mary.
Okay.
You
yeah. One second. I have one more point, and then I'll jump off this and we go on to Mary's. Okay. No, so also at 20 minutes in the first half, our possession was 30%, and theirs was 70. And once again, like we were starting off so slow. It was weird. After 20 minutes, we actually started to pick up and started to do some nice passes, intercepts, you know, and we made it a little bit of a game. But the first half as a whole was really poor, and quite lucky to get out of it, I think, without a score going against us.
Yeah, and we finished with 35% at half time.
Yeah, a little bit better, but not crazy more.
Yep.
So that's the first half done with. Let's see what Mary has. Here's a hot topic. Okay, we like hot topics. Is this season successful if we win this trophy but not get promoted? Would love to hear everyone's take. Building a club means winning trophies, no? Okay.
Yes and no.
Go on. You go for it first.
Well, I mean, yes, winning trophies is fantastic. And we saw that when we won the National League. You know, that was massive celebration in the town. But in terms of a club and the way the English Football League system works, getting promoted, I would almost argue, especially down from as low as League Two in the National League, is far more important than winning a trophy. Like I would, you know, yeah, I'd love to win a trophy, but getting to the championship, finishing second, or winning the playoffs and getting through to the championships, I think is a major achievement, especially financially for the club and for the development of the club. Getting up into the championship is a major milestone. From there, I'd happily sit there for 4 or 5 years. No dramas.
Okay, but does that answer the specific question of this season?
Okay, would it be
if we don't go up this season and we win the cup, is it a successful season?
Yes, is my short answer.
Okay.
Because I was bullish, and I am a glass half full person, and I thought we'd make the playoffs this season. Now, some people thought that as well. But I would say, to be fair, the majority of people thought we would just be somewhere in the middle of the table.
Okay. So my take on this one is fairly simple and straightforward. If we go up this season, obviously it's successful. If we don't go up this season and we win the trophy, that's a successful season. If we don't go up this season and if we lose in the final to Birmingham, it's still a successful season. As much as people will be disappointed if that's what it ends up being, a run in the playoffs and not going up through the playoffs and not winning this, losing to Birmingham in the final, it's still a successful season. I'm sorry, but it is not common to go back to back. And I'm not even talking back to back to back. So just back to back. So I don't know anybody who was honestly calling for a promotion immediately. And the fact that that we've just done back to back, makes it even harder, because when you do it back to back, you haven't consolidated. You haven't normally updated your team. You haven't strengthened your team across multiple open windows. So it makes it that much harder when you do it in that way, because generally you're not prepared. This is why so many people still say you need a season to consolidate. And it's basically just to bring in players across multiple seasons and build your team ready for the next promotion. Yeah.
I'm going to frame the question to you in a slightly different way then.
Yeah.
At the start of this season, thinking back to the start of the season,
yeah,
what would have you deemed to be an unsuccessful season?
Bottom half.
So top half was successful, bottom half was unsuccessful, and relegated was terrible.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So this continue this on then. Well, what level is below that? Well, below that is just missing out on the playoffs. So if we had a shot at getting into the playoffs and missed out, then that would have been a success. We were close. Now, so even in between that, you have 5th and 6th place in the playoffs, and then missing out in the playoffs. Look, I know what the club said, and I know saying, "Oh yeah, we'd love to go back to back again, and we're going to push for it." But being realistic, I'm sorry, like this could have gone any sort of way at the start of the season. But it would be disappointing. Look, if we get nothing out of this season, if we go into the playoffs and maybe go out in the first round of the playoffs, it'll be a disappointing season because we got so close. But it should still be deemed a successful season.
Yeah,
really
and if anybody wants to give their opinion, hit the link. It's back up in the chat. I've just thrown it up there in the comments. We'd love to hear somebody else's opinion on this. But and Kent Guilford said our season is already a success. I agree with that.
Okay, I'm going to disagree with that. Yes, and I'm actually going to contradict myself here a little bit.
Yeah, you're talking about both ends there.
No, I know. I am. I'm going to clarify. When we're talking about the start of the season, would it have been successful? Yes, but you do have to adjust your sights. And the thing is, now that we have gotten so close to automatics and stayed here for so long, if we now go on a downswing and end up outside the playoffs, that is an unsuccessful season from where we are now. That would be a major bad finish at the end of the season. Now, not the end of the world, not the end of the world, but you do have to adjust your sights at some point, so yeah, I would say outside the playoffs from where we are now, that would be a bad end to the season. Not disastrous, but I'm happy.
I think you've nailed it right on the head there, Paddy. Once again, your superior knowledge here is really shining through. But you are right. You know, the goalpost move. You
Yes.
know, like you get to this part of the season now, and obviously, well, the transfer window is a classic example of that. You know,
Yes.
we've gone and signed 3 players to bolster the squad because we're going for promotion.
Yeah.
And we're not the only ones. Wickham signed 12 players in the transfer window.
Yeah, and that's a very valid point. If we decided that we're not going to spend any money in the transfer window and we'll be comfortable ending up in the playoffs and risking maybe ending up in 7th or 8th, but we're going to hold fire on our money. We're not going to spend more. That's a decision. And look, you're playing it differently. But what you said at the start of the season now changes in January because you decide how much money to give Parky to spend on new players. And potentially you say to him, okay, here's a couple of million. Now you can get your players, but the expectations have changed. We now want an absolute minimum of playoffs, and we want a good shout at getting second.
Yep. And I would say, and these are very outside teams too. I was just looking at the table. The teams that can possibly make the playoffs now, the absolute maximum would be Stevenage down in 40 points, in my opinion. And I think that's a real stretch. I would actually probably go as far to say it's at
Reading.
9th, Reading in 46 points. You know, I mean, you look at Barnsley sitting just below them in 10th, 4 losses and a draw in their last 5 matches. They are literally doing what you said you don't want us to do, Paddy, which is tumbling down the table. Because they were right on our back, but they were right on our heels 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We have taken, well, we have played a lot of the top end teams. Our finish to our season is not that crazy difficult.
Yeah. Well, I still think we've got some hard matches.
Of course, we do have some mixed in there, but it's not. I've looked through it, and actually, I have graphs on this that I need to update. I will show them off shortly. I will update them for the current league positions, and I will show the end of the season running for our most important opponents, and we'll see who has the harder matches.
There's your matches, Paddy, if you want to talk through them. But there's it's interesting that you say that, like, you know,
one to the last 6. Go right down to the end.
Okay, which is just here. Okay, so that is, I'll just make sure we've got them all. Yep, we are there. We go. So, and so if I go in reverse, Lincoln away, Charlton at home, Blackpool away, Bristol at home, Wigan Athletic away, and Burton at home.
Yeah.
So there's some,
winnable. All very winnable. There's no ridiculously hard ones after we get past Stockport.
And isn't it interesting, Paddy, that it's really going to come? And the other thing that makes these games really interesting is, where are those teams in the ladder? Are they going for? Are they going for the auto promotion? Going for the playoffs? Are they worried about getting relegated?
Yes.
You want to play those 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, down to 20th sort of teams that literally they're just waiting for the season to end.
Yeah, and that is potentially a problem for us. Maybe not, depending on where they are. But the likes of Bolton, they could be close enough to drop.
Bristol Rovers, Burton,
Rovers, Bolton,
Wigan Athletic, those teams.
Yeah. Wigan hopefully will be far enough away. Blackpool, mid teams that there's nothing to play for is exactly who you want at the end. But yeah, when you look at the teams others have, there's some really difficult, like, top end teams in there. So
look at the last three games in March, Paddy. Wickham away, Stockport at home, Exeter away.
Yeah, that's our run there, where we have some difficulties. So guys, we have our pal Steve Barton has come in to join us. So let's bring him in. You ready, Steve? I think so.
Yeah.
Hello.
I'm ready.
Good,
Hey,
good,
man.
good.
How you guys doing?
We're doing well. We're talking to each other because no one wants
You
to talk to
both,
us.
you both look very, very good. I mean,
it's our own fault for saying that we weren't able to do the show, and then we did the show, and so we lost a couple of people. But oh well, these things happen. But you came to save the day.
Oh no. I always follow, the local pundit, and I have to say it's kind of a tie between you and Ken for lettuce of the match.
No, it's definitely Paddy.
But when he has his headphones on, it's not as obvious. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate the love, Steve. Thank you.
Well, I love my Aussie and Irish friends.
What do you think of the game, Steve?
Well, I thought we looked a little lethargic in the first half. And then I really like the fact that we pressed in the second half a little more.
Yeah.
Brought on those subs, and I just felt like we took control of the match in the last third. The last 30 minutes, and there were a few scares. Don't get me wrong. There were a lot of scares actually, but I was pretty impressed. Our guys responded, and that's how you defend the fortress, right?
Okay, so why don't we start going through some of the players? And what we'll do is we'll leave the substitutes to last, and we'll just cover everything kind of up to the subs, really, in general. So I'm going to call out AO first. Let's just do him. How did he play today?
I thought he did great. Made some great saves. He wasn't called on much, but he definitely made the saves when he needed to.
He did. Did you notice, or do you agree that he was not kicking long very much today?
Well, that's always been the weak part of it. That's always been the weak part of his game, Patty.
It has.
He's not been a great kicker.
Yeah, he seems to be taking less of them. Maybe it's a good thing, until he gets his eye back or whatever. But yeah, he seems to be passing the ball out to his defenders to kick, taking shorter throws. Although he did have some nice ones. He did have a lovely kick out from the back where he went to do a throw and stopped, and then decided to kick it. I can't remember who
tried to kick it to Rev. Yep.
Was it? It was to Revan. Yes, it was. Yep. And that nearly came off. That was a really nice chance. And
guys, I'm going to leave. I'm going to have to jump. Steve, you and Paddy, have a great show on that bombshell, guys. I'm out.
Take care.
Take care, Ken. Paddy, speaking of Revan, I thought he played really well today.
Yes, when he was attacking, he
not
was showing.
But
yes, that's the problem. He looked very good in offense, in his attack. He looked very interesting in his movements, his decision making, stuff like that was all very good. Again, some of his defense was a little bit off, let's just say. But he had the work rate that Parky wants. He absolutely had the effort and the work rate. Pretty much, I think. I saw him move a lot.
More of a classic winger than he is a wingback, right, Paddy?
Yeah, and that's the thing. We always have to train our wingers to be wingbacks, and maybe it's a weak part of their game for a while. So again, it's the same thing I said before. I think that's what's keeping him out of the side.
Yep.
Parky just wants as solid a defense as possible, and he wants to build off that. So.
And he knows he has that with Macca, right?
He has that with Macca. Macca's a solid 7 every time. Maybe he doesn't get as much into the attacking as we might like, but he gets up for headers, he gets into dangerous positions, and he does get crosses in, and he does get some attacking duties happening. So
And he does have a bit of shithousery about him.
exactly. Yeah. Okay. So then defense. We mentioned Brunt. Happy enough with the
I
rest of
thought Brunt was man of the match.
Okay.
I thought Klorth put in a good shift.
Kluivert, he didn't come on till later.
Well, when he came in later, he
Okay.
put in a good shift. But O'Connor, I thought he did well.
Yeah.
But
Scar for the
Brunt-
most part did okay.
Yeah.
A couple of little wobbles, a couple of maybe a miscommunication-ish here and there. Nothing crazy, but communication still isn't great at the back. Comment here from Catalyst Gaming. Yeah, sometimes just a little bit. But that was happening all over the park though. When they're with their short passing, communication doesn't seem to be right, or understanding between the players just doesn't seem as crisp as it needs to be.
It feels like I'm with you, Patty, on that. The back, it feels like no one's directing it. I feel like it's part of Okonkwo's issue. He's not
Yeah.
directing, and Scar is not talking. You know what I'm saying? Just seems like there's not a lot of communication on the back.
Yeah. In one respect, you say your goalie should absolutely understand all the positioning of your defenders, and even at this age, he should be able to take that responsibility on himself. Why that's not happening, I don't know, but that was an issue from day one. He wasn't speaking at all. He wasn't even shouting at defenders on an occasion. He wasn't even giving out to them when something went wrong. Like, he just was saying nothing. Now he seems to be at least talking to the defenders. Maybe it's a step too far to be saying to organize them, but he should be. If he wants to be stepping up, he should be. Yeah.
I mean, that's what Premier League goalkeepers do. They direct it. They're the catcher, to use American baseball parlance. You are the captain of the field.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
then our wingers, Longman.
I don't know. Like a 50-50 performance today. He's good. I know he's good. He makes great passes. I didn't see him make. The last game he played, he was putting the balls into the box. I didn't see that today.
Yeah. But I didn't also see us getting the ball to him out on the wing as often as we did with Barney. They weren't playing out there. Now, I don't know if the team just isn't comfortable with him yet, and we're deciding to take other options because he's new, or what. But we were playing around on the ground a lot more today than I know not as much. We were going long at times, but not so much. Longman looks clearly like a high level player, but he also looks new. He looks like he's out of sync with the rest of the team. And it's the same thing I actually said about Bolton when Bolton came in, because he came in a January window, I believe, mid-season, when everybody else was kind of in sync with each other. And he looked good initially. His speed and his pace and all of that was quite good. But then he got lost at the end. And he just couldn't sync up with the team. Now, Michael Pierce says here about Longman. Longman seemed to prefer flat crosses than air crosses. And I think that seems to be, for me at the moment, whenever Longman comes off the sideline, then he goes for flat passes. Once he gets closer to the goal, he's looking for pinpoint accuracy. He's looking to roll the ball into somebody to give them a straight shot. And there was one moment there where he had the ball. He ended up going around about 2 or 3 players. He had the ball for ages, and they couldn't take the ball off him. And he eventually got a flat pass into the goal, into danger. And it's a different style. and players aren't used to it. They're not maybe expecting it. The same with going up the byline and then crossing backwards into the box from basically the keeper's line.
Yeah.
We don't do it. Now it's a fantastic move. When you get that angle and you're rolling the ball backwards, it's fantastic. But
everyone's out of position.
Yeah, everyone's out of position. They don't see it coming because at 1 second he could be backwards, looking at the touchline with the ball, defending it from a defender. A second later, he's around that defender, and now he's looking for that cutback, and nobody's there.
Nobody.
So, a different style. So we'll see there. Michael,
well, I thought it was a fantastic game. It was a game of two halves again, like we always do. And of course, the 1-0. I hate that.
Yeah.
Because I really would like us to win 3-0 or something like that.
Of course, yeah.
But you know, we did it without our starting 11, as I call it.
Yeah.
So I felt really good about it.
Yeah. So a couple of comments here I'm going to bring up, all based on the same thing. Michael says he's been told Longman is great at one-on-one. And he said doesn't seem like that much, to be honest. Would like to see him trying to move into channels more. I like him in one-on-ones. He's very comfortable. And he gets into decent positions. So I don't know that I agree with that. From Tez here, you can't compare Bolton and Longman. Bolton didn't have a single cross as good as any of Longman's assists. I'm not comparing Bolton and Longman for quality or what they were doing. I was just simply saying, for a new player, when he was new, his speed looked good. He looked like he was capable, but then ultimately couldn't link with the rest of the team with the tactics. He couldn't get his crosses in high. He was trying flat crosses as well, and flat balls to nowhere with nobody near it, and it just didn't work. So I'm not comparing them for skill level. They're worlds apart. But just as a new player who came in January, you know, he needed time that ultimately he didn't get because it didn't work out quick enough, and he got sidelined very early. Now, this one I did remember. Blackburn tore us apart doing that in the cup. So that's in reference to running up along the byline and cutting the ball backwards into the box. Sammy Schmodics, for anybody who can remember, absolutely ate us alive, running up the side wing, running along the back byline, and then passing flat into the box for 2 or 3 of their players running on, because they were all waiting for it. As soon as they saw him get close enough to that byline, they knew he was going to go for a run, and that was his next task, was to get the ball back. They were all on a run to try and get on the end of that. And as a keeper, you don't know who to defend. You don't know where that ball is going. You can see 3 people running at you, and you have to try and stop it. And it's been cut back away from you. You've very little chance. And very top-end teams have done that to us. And we should be doing it a bit more. Just variety.
So Patty.
Yeah.
What do you think our lineup's going to be for this weekend?
Closer to our last match.
Pretty much?
Yeah, I think so. He's going to revert back pretty much to where he was. I don't think anybody...
Northampton, right?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's an interesting question then. Do you think anybody who needed to step up today to get back in the first team did it?
No.
No, I don't think so.
I didn't see it.
So. Yeah. So
does that mean that Mullen's going to be in the starting 11?
Maybe on the bench. I don't think he'll start. I think Sam will start.
Fall going to be on the bench?
No, maybe not.
Marriott starting?
Maybe Marriott. Maybe Marriott will play. Evans as well was the other one I was thinking about. Evans had a good, solid game, today, I think.
I thought so too.
Not enough to break into immediately in the 11, but maybe solid enough to show that he needs to be among the group that's considered.
Right. So,
but he is still coming back as well. So
all right. So Dabo, Elliott, Cannon.
Cannon did great today. Dakota Mike, I see you in the back there. I'll take you in 2 seconds. Maybe Cannon will get a shot, but I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't as well. Still, he's probably closer. He's definitely closer. And I can see him being rotated in because I don't think he's suitable for every match. So I think it depends
What about Coach Evans? Does he start?
No, he won't start.
Okay.
But I think he's closer to being back in the lineup after it today.
All right.
Okay, so let's bring Mike in. Hello.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you want to have a say on something we were just talking about, or?
Well, I think I'm probably a little less upbeat than Steve on the game. I didn't think we looked great. I mean, we looked okay, but we were
Unmute.
No, you're good. I can hear him.
Okay.
Oh.
I think we were inches away from going into a shootout. You know, that one goal that bounced off the post. So I mean,
yes, yeah.
You know, we didn't ever lock the game away with a by being up by 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. There was some dodgy moments there. We did look much better in the second half, especially once that goal went in.
Yeah, for sure.
So we haven't really spoken about the goal and the substitutions. I held back on them. So let's talk about that. So our substitutions, obviously it worked, but why did it work? And like, is it obvious that's the first team? I think it is, kind of. Yeah?
Agreed. Very much agreed. Yeah, I think that when the subs came on, we looked like a different team, which I guess we were. So that makes sense.
Yeah. So Sam Smith definitely looks quality. Still learning with the rest of the team, but yeah, absolutely. And Rodriguez, actually, at one point I saw Rodriguez, and he was back in our third, and he ended up with the ball doing his defensive duties like everybody's expected with Parky, but nobody was coming to claim the ball from him. He was just there, his back to the defender, defending the ball, and it ended up one player came along and he got the pass back to him, and it wasn't even in a comfortable position for an easy, simple clear. It got cleared, so nothing happened in the end. But in general, when someone has the ball, we should have more than one person going to give an option for the next pass. It's so obvious where the next pass is going with us, because we're not giving people 2 options, 3 options. They should have them around them. And that's why our tippy-tappy passing just isn't working. They're not working as a unit. But Rodriguez, he looked decent for the time he was on again. Obviously a bit older, but happy enough that he'd be on the bench, certainly. And starting whenever needed, I think.
Agreed.
Agreed. Yeah. But they made such a difference to us when all of them came on. Max came on then as well, and basically it sat in the middle, did he?
Yeah, that seems like where it was.
For Cannon, yeah, I think he just sat in the middle to hold that position for the last. I think that was a defensive thing, obviously, that he could track back and be a more solid defender, maybe. But he's scored so many goals. If the opportunity arises, get him up the front as well. Maybe get ahead on something. But yeah.
Well, I mean, he's one of our best scorers, right?
Well, he is, yeah. Which horrible to say that sometimes, but good for him, obviously.
I hate it. It's horrible.
Get the goals where you can, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Look, if the rest of your team steps up, and actually, do you know what? That's a very valid point that I just said to myself. When you step up, Cannon was not looking for any pass to any other player when he received that ball before the goal. He was looking around him for, where am I going to shoot this? I think it was a moment where he said to himself, it's not happening. Passing's not working. We're not getting the shots. I'm going to do it. I'm going to finish this. He was in a decent position and he was looking around, and he eventually turned, got the shot off. Defender in front of him blocking the view of the goalie. Don't know what happened with the goalie. Did the defender get a slight touch on it? Maybe. I think it looped a little bit. Not a huge amount, but the goalie did not react at all.
I know. He was flat-footed. He didn't even see it.
Yeah. Yeah. I do think the defender was in a straight line, which was blocking the launch of it. And they go so fast at that stage. Like, yeah, he was just too flat-footed to even dive at it.
Yeah, my wife literally said he just watched the ball go by.
Yeah. And sometimes they're that fast. What can you do?
And that's what Andy Cannon does. He's done this for the last 2 years. He's put screamers in. Think about the last 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah, he
He's
absolutely
amazing.
can do it. Yeah. Chris is saying, had Max in the middle, we're going to turn Max into a striker.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm all for that.
Yeah. So let's stay positive for a second, because I just saw one here that maybe is a little divisive. So I'll leave that for a moment. But yeah, I know that shot somewhere in the second half where it bounced off the post was horrible. That was a danger situation. But in general, did you feel comfortable once that first goal went in? Ish comfortable. You're never totally comfortable with only one goal.
Are you asking me?
Well,
Yes.
I think I got comfortable very quickly. Very quickly, the team looked solid and more natural and more flow. And then when that led to the change and the others came on, we just got stronger. So our defensive duties after the goal, I think, settled everybody. The goal settled people, and there was less mistakes. I saw, a less emphasis on rushing or trying to get there and needing a goal. But am I wrong? Did you see anything different otherwise?
I mean, I thought we looked a lot better. Excuse me. I thought we looked a lot better after the goal for sure for a while. But then near the end, I was gripping onto the seats of my chair because they came at us hard, and I didn't feel comfortable then. That's for sure. Those last, 10 minutes.
But you always get that last push from any team when they know, look, you can risk every bit of defense. It doesn't matter if you get caught on the break. We have to attack. We have to get an attacking opportunity. So at that point, it's always back to the walls. But yeah, in general, we got comfortable. I think I felt a bit more comfortable.
So personally, I would have rather seen us stay on the front foot and keep attacking them rather than sitting back and trying to absorb the pressure. That's just me.
Well, I just want us to have a game like Port Vale where we're up multiple goals and I can kind of breathe easy, because we've put the game to bed, and we don't get many of those.
Amen.
Right now,
Amen. Amen. I'm with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But at the end of the day, it was a tough game. We drew against them at their place. They came here. We won at the race course. I mean, what more can you ask for?
Yeah, and that's fair. Now, they didn't have their top attacking talent on early. Their two attackers, when they changed them, were the real threat from their side. But they got their chances. Michael here is saying the thing is we shouldn't wait till 60 or 65 minutes to start playing properly. something needs to change. Well, yes, it does need to change, and it needs to change in the league matches. But the fact that we're not playing this team in the league, that is the change we need, I think. You know,
Right.
going back to that solid team with the new attackers up front. That is the change. But they need to work together and solidly and convincingly win the matches against the lower league teams, especially away. They need to step up and just make that change. But I think we've decided who our team is now almost. I don't see any change from our last one, basically. From our last match after tonight. I don't see anyone stepping up. A couple of people are a little bit closer, are an option when needed. But they just have to step up and do it now, which they haven't. And of course, the new guys need time in training, which they're slowly getting now. It's coming along. So hopefully it's just going to get stronger and stronger.
Well, like on that note, I'm still now not sure if I want Barnett or Longman on the right there. I'm not sure who I prefer at this point. That's where, for me, I'd love to see them both on the field at the same time if that's possible, but I don't know, with our formation, if it is.
Yeah, very good. Very good observation.
But here's the real question. I don't even think it's a question of Longman and Barnett. I think it's more of a question of Longman and Macca. And I know I'm throwing it out there.
Look, I think we've all thrown it out there. I've agreed. I've said I'd like to see it. But until he does it, we might as well not bother talking about it.
I understand, but you know where I'm coming from.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I do.
Longman is a left footer as equally as he is a right footer, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I would like to see him out on the left, just to see what style he has. Now, maybe he won't. He's actually a right footer, but he, even if he doesn't cross in from the left, as much, but then runs in from the left-hand side onto his right foot. Yes. Then that's a completely different. That's a completely different attacking style.
Yep. And we need that.
We do need it. Yeah, we need someone who can be just outside the box and can leather a shot in on top of the keeper. And good enough to get it in the corners a lot, but if the keeper gets it, he might parry it and knock it down into the box.
Kickback. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you, Patty. I'm with you.
Well, and I think.
No, and the other option then is as he runs toward the box, he could just as easily make a nice simple pass if it's open for somebody else.
Right.
Yeah, but I think if you look at, the real value of these cup games right now is just getting these players minutes.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity for Parker to experiment. And if he's playing Longman in both these cup games on the right, he's not going to experiment in the league game. So we pretty much know Longman's going to be on the right. I mean,
pretty much. Yeah.
Because if this was a chance to experiment in a relatively consequence-free environment, and he kept him on the right. So when he could have, swapped Rev, I guess he played Revan on the left instead. So I don't know. Does that mean we're going to see Revan? I don't know.
No, Revan is too defensively weak. I don't think it was enough. I think that's what Revan needs to prove, is that his defensive duties are at a higher level, and he didn't do that again today. His attacking qualities are still good. His attacking options, his attacking brain, passes, movement, all of that's good. But his defensive duties were just a little unsteady again. And this is why I think you're never getting McLean out of the team. Ignoring the fact of captaincy, which I think probably proves the point that he's never coming out anyway. His defensive duties are just too solid.
I agree.
And he's part of the core defense of the team. So I don't see him trusting Longman with that, because Longman has maybe a few defensive weaknesses a little bit that we've seen. Maybe not. He's a winger. He's not used to the defensive side. He's good. He's quality, but it's a danger when you put him out there. If you expect him to do all these defensive duties, then maybe he will, but maybe he'll make a mistake. So Parky is risk adverse. He is not going to throw in loads of attackers, attacking style players in these positions because somebody's going to make a mistake in that scenario. So, yeah, I think it's Longman on the right, pushing Barney. And what I don't mind, sorry. My throat's very dry.
You all right?
Yeah, my throat's just dry. So I actually don't mind the idea of Barney starting, doing the 60 minutes and then swapping in for a fresh Longman. I don't. And keeping,
I like that too.
If our attack is going to come so solid from that right-hand side, which it seems to be, then if you have two there, you have the 60-minute and then you have a brand new fresh pair of legs that you're not going to lose much or anything when you swap Barney off, then you can say to Barney, full blast. Don't worry about conserving your energy past 60 minutes. We've got Longman. He's coming on. So use your afterburners whenever you need to burn your energy. And when we need you off, we've got someone.
I'd like to see that. That sounds, because he's already fast and he's good. So even those
fresh
roles
leg,
are better.
Yeah.
So I really need to find out how to get my camera better off because I hate holding it up like this.
You need yourself a little stand.
Apparently, I'm not a YouTuber.
Well, we do have a YouTuber in the background. Hello.
Well, I will go ahead and get off. I appreciate it, guys. Take care.
On that bombshell.
On that bombshell, I'm out.
Take care, Steve.
Bye, Steve.
All right. Take care, guys.
Well, how are we doing, guys?
We're doing good. We're on the positives. We're on the end of the match.
Hey, lots of positives today. Lots of positives. Lots of
Yes.
good things to take away from that. I got to say something and see if I can blow up the chat. I'm going to blow some minds in the chat.
Here we go.
I thought Dan Scar was really good today.
Ooh.
Okay.
Everybody says that I don't like him. It's not that I don't like him. I just don't think he's better. I don't think he's a better option. That being said, he was very good defensively today. I did think our build-up play in the first half was terrible, but I don't blame that on him necessarily. I don't think our midfield wasn't linking up. See, if you're going to play out the back like we were trying, the midfield's got to link up with the back, with your back line, and they weren't. Evans started to later on in the match. I thought you started seeing Evans come back more to retrieve the ball, but early on it was very. It was like they hadn't done it before. It was like they're trying something new. It just didn't look very good. I think some of it may have been Brunt on the right. I think he looked shaky at first, not defensively, but when we had the ball, trying to find the right pass. I think he was I think just switching to the right kind of put him off a little bit. Yeah, it took him a second to get adjusted. I actually thought, I know everybody said the first half wasn't very good. I actually thought that we had like a 15-20 minute spell right in the middle of the first half where we actually put a lot of pressure on them. We had the ball quite a bit, and it wasn't bad, but then they took back over for about the last 10 minutes of the half. You know what I mean? So I'd say like maybe the first 10, 15 was all them. Then we had a spell of, maybe 15 or so that was us. And then the last 10 was them in the first half. I didn't think the first half was as bad. The first 15 minutes was ugly, scary.
Now, did Scar have the captain's ban on? Did I see?
He did. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't pay attention to that. But yeah, I thought he looked really good defensively. I thought O'Connor had a decent game defensively too. I know last game I didn't think he played that well. And I thought he was a lot better this time. But yeah, that's yeah, I just want to throw that out there. I thought Dan Scar played really well, just so the chat knows that I don't hate him.
That's very big of you.
I don't hate him, but no, I thought I was real happy with the day. I was real happy. I thought Ollie Rathbone changed the game. He completely dominated the midfield after he came in. What was funny was I was a little when they made the subs, I was a little upset that they subbed off Lee instead of Cannon.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course Cannon goes and it's the winner. So I was like, well, I guess that's what I know. But I wanted to see Rathbone and Lee at the same time. But yeah, I thought Rathbone, he just took over the midfield when he came in. Because that was one thing where they were hurting us. Their midfield was their midfield was kind of dominating, most of the first half, and I mean just a lot of their midfield was really giving us trouble. Was it Sheehan or Sheenan? I can't remember how you say his name. I thought he was really good. But I thought their midfield was dominating the game until Rathbone came in. He just turned the game around. I thought his energy, which he's always got that, but I thought he changed the game. But yeah. So what else? What else we got going
on? We're actually coming towards the end of.
Yeah, I was a little late getting back from work, so.
No problem. So what do we think about the return match? Because we're going to have to play them again.
Yeah. I think for me, I thought it'll be interesting to see what they do. See if they stick with a 3-5-2. I think that's how they started, and then they switched later on to more of a 4-3-3. They brought in a striker, dropped one of their center backs, and threw an extra striker on. Yeah, I thought. I thought we played pretty well today. Like I said, I think once we figured out how they were playing, because it was kind of it was actually really it was a lot like that 3-5-1-1 that we played that I hate.
Yeah.
It drove me insane. And they played that Lalos, or however you say his name, in
Lalos,
that in that 10 spot.
Yeah,
and he gave us some fits. I think it was just us trying to figure out how we needed to defend it, and who needed to cover him, and then who was covering the striker. So because we had them outnumbered right there. It was just we had an extra player. It was just figuring out who needed to be on who, and we were losing him. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't good enough communication, I think. I think Evans needed to help out a little more on that too. But I think once we went in halftime, we come back out of halftime, you could tell Parkey figured it out. He's like, this is how we're doing it. And then they kind of marshaled that for for most of the half, pretty much the rest of the half. And then of course they changed their formation. Went to more of a 4-3-3. And so that changed things. But yeah, I thought we played really well. I thought we dominated once we made the subs.
Well, they are definitely going to be stronger for the next match with their full squad. They had a couple of players cup tied as well. They're new players that came in January.
Mm-hmm.
So they were missing some of those. So they will definitely be stronger. But we will certainly be stronger as well. We'll be at our full strength. So it'll be a very good match. I think. Now we have home advantage, which is always good in that match again, because we've already played them away to a draw 1-1. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the match, actually.
Yeah.
Well, I think it shows that we need to be cautious because they are in 8th, and you can see that they do have they're a good team, and so this was a good chance to see them as their current team is now. I mean, not maybe not their full starting team, but a good sense of what they're about, and it's a chance to kind of get intel, so to speak.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh shoot.
Okay, John Merrill fancies Bolton to make it into the playoffs. I could see that. Their new manager made some tactical changes. You know, he was trying, he was pushing. They could very well make top six. Some of the other teams are starting to fall off again. There's no consistency, I think, around that top six with the teams that are there right now. So I would not be surprised if Bolton, they only need to come up one more space from where they are right now. So I could see them pulling it together. Decent team.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're a team that, they've been underperforming for sure. For the quality they've got in that squad, they've been underperforming, I think. So if Schumacher can get a tune out of them, I think I would agree with John. They'll probably be in and around it, I'd say.
Yeah. New manager bump, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see how long it lasts. But for the moment, they're not challenging us, so we don't need to worry about them right now. Now, moving on, just to wrap it up again and start where we ended, or end where we started. Stockport ended up in a draw towards the end. That was nice. Some of the matches we had today actually went our way pretty much. Wickham didn't play, so that was an important one, I guess, that we'll be looking for. But yeah, Stockport took a draw, which is good. They needed to chill a little bit with their results.
Nice separation.
So 1 point between us, and we've 2 games in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, a question that was asked numerous times, maybe been answered a little bit, but I'll ask you guys. So, Peterborough, we're obviously going to hammer the shit out of. Like, we're not going to discuss them being any sort of a good team. You know, they shouldn't even be in this league. So, assuming we want to hammer them 5-0, what's your expectation of a final at Wembley with Birmingham? Where do you rate our chances?
I want a one-off game. Anything can happen. Yeah. I mean, I think you'd be stupid to think that Birmingham's not the favorite, but anything can happen in a one-off game. So, we get on a good run. I don't know when the finals played. John's in the chat. He may know. I don't remember if it's before the season ends or if it is after. Is it before the season ends?
It's before, yeah. I believe so.
I know it's late on.
I think it's about 2 weeks before the playoffs.
Okay.
So it's towards the end of the season, but it's not the very end. 6th of April.
6th of April.
According to John. Catalyst said April 13th. Maybe.
So somebody's right and somebody's wrong.
Early April.
Yeah, early April. John is saying they'll already be promoted by then.
They should be.
It would definitely be a tough match.
Yes.
Especially because Birmingham they're in good form right now as well. It's not like they're wobbling. But at the same time, we haven't really seen what our new signings can do once they've kind of fully worked into the team. So we don't know what we're going to look like in April either, you know.
Yeah.
We may kick off flying with Smith and J-Rod and we may be on another level by that point. Who knows?
So it's the first Sunday in April. Now you guys will probably know this quote. What is it? On any given Sunday, you're either gonna win or you're gonna lose.
Yeah. Oh. Yep, absolutely.
But no, absolutely. Look, of course they're going to be the favourites. Let's not be silly about this. For as much as we give John shit, look, they should blitz the league by the end of it, and they would absolutely be favourites. But it's a one-off game. It's the magic of the cup. And absolutely, I would love to see like 45,000 people on their side and 40,000 on our side or whatever it is in Wembley. I may very well fly over myself to go to Wembley to see it. Maybe. Let's see. But look, yeah, let's get there. Let's talk about Posh. Why not?
They're in trouble. They're in trouble. They're in serious trouble.
And we said earlier when you weren't here, Aaron, they could very well be in the relegation zone when they're playing us.
Yeah. Oh, I would love it. I would love it.
Yeah, they could be. I mean, I just out of curiosity. So let's go to. I'm not worried about this. You said they play. Peterborough play. Huddersfield, right?
Yeah, Huddersfield
Between
is 2
now and
matches
then.
away. Yes.
Okay, so
I can't remember who the first match is off the top of my head, but I think they have 2 matches before they play us. The second one being Huddersfield.
So Crawley's got Wickham next, which isn't, that's probably a loss. But then they play Wigan. So that's winnable. They could win that.
Can I rant about Peterborough for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go on.
So
if you're positive, you are gone. Cut. Just be pre-warned.
With Poshcast, we talked about them, but what has bothered me the whole season is it wasn't that they predicted they were going to win. It wasn't that they said they didn't think we were, as good as them. It was this the huge disrespect to that we were not up to this level. Our owners were bored. Our fans were bored. We weren't very good. And that went beyond a normal, like, hey, I'm going to beat the other team. That was like such a huge level of disrespect that they deserve all the hate they get from us the rest of the season, as far as I'm concerned. And then, Ashley, I'm glad he's here. He pops in, but he never really walked that back. He said he stood by what he said. And then the next time he had a chance to talk about us, he says we shouldn't even be playing English teams, which Wrexham has been playing English teams since the 1800s. We've been playing English teams since longer than some English teams have been around. So again, to say that we shouldn't somehow now all of a sudden be playing English teams, he doubles down, and it just makes me hate Posh even more and relish their losses even more than I already did. Reto.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I totally agree. I actually, before the season, I didn't have it. I didn't mind Posh. I didn't have a problem with Peterborough. They're kind of a team I wouldn't mind seeing do good. I was wanting them to be. I thought they'd be a good team and a team that we'd be challenging against. You know what I mean? I thought it'd be a good, good game. Their manager is a Wrexham legend. So I thought, hey, that's cool. But then the Poshcast happened, and it's like, Jesus Christ, fuck these guys.
Well put.
Right. What they said about us was bad. Fair enough. Then what they said about Birmingham. Do you recall what they said about Birmingham?
I can't remember exactly.
They said that Birmingham was going to get bullied by all the big, strong League One teams, and that they were going to end up in 7th. They weren't even going to make playoffs. Yeah, it's look, they just
judgment is not their strong suit, clearly.
Look, I know half of it is just clickbait nonsense.
Yeah,
it is. I know it is. They can't be that stupid.
I mean, they can.
Yeah, to be fair, they can be that stupid, but
okay. Now, Scott, my man. Right, this is another pet peeve that I have not gotten around to, and geez, if I say something nice about Posh here, just fucking kick me out, will you? Because I was about to do it. I'm not going to do it. I almost did. Right. Sorry, wrong one. Okay, here. The Poshcast is fine, but the owner of the Posh is a Class A C word. All right, I'm going to hide it because of the word. He is. And you want to know something else? The fucker's Irish. He is giving Irish people a bad name. He is the type of fucking idiot that you get in Ireland with the big head on him and going around talking to people like that and acting this shit because he's got a bit of money about him. He is an idiot. And I have not said that yet because I've not really had the opportunity to bring him up. But I have now. Okay, that's it.
Well, no, he's the kind of guy you want to see lose. So I mean, that's fair.
Yeah. Now, John is going to start me. Oh, sorry, I misread it, John. I thought you were going to start saying that we could Wrexham. See, you're saying we. You're talking about Wrexham. You're one of us now. Well, we could still finish 7th, Paddy. I actually think he's talking about Birmingham. We would have to start playing cricket and not football. Let's just do another half an hour talking shit about Posh.
Yeah, I'm all right with it.
I'm enjoying this. And nobody seems to be clicking off, so everybody else must obviously enjoy it too.
Yeah.
John actually likes the Posh owner because he pisses everybody off, including his own fans. Oh, God. Ken! I'm sorry, guys. This is so bad. You can't see what we see. So
yeah.
Oh, God.
Kid just comes flying into the background. I do that flex one more time because I'm gonna drop you in. Do that one more time, Ken. I will bring you in a heartbeat.
Okay. Sorry, guys. All right. So back to Posh. Except when the Posh cast had that fetus predicting a 5-1 win, which went hilariously viral. Yeah, I had fun with that. That was Charlie, I think. Pretty sure that was Charlie.
Every time Posh loses now, I tune into the Poshcast just to revel in their despair and their complaining about the team and the owner. I do sort of go in and just get a bit of joy every time they lose and watching a few minutes of their podcast.
Yeah. So
John is making guesses.
No,
Ken has a Posh shirt on, doesn't he?
He's got a Welsh Techies shirt on. If you know, you know.
Okay. Right. Any last thoughts, guys? Because we're now at an hour and a half.
Yeah. Okonkwo, I thought was pretty good today. Decent, you know.
Yep.
Good saves in the first half. Didn't have much to do in the second half. Let's see, anybody else I haven't talked about that needed called out? Not really. I thought it was a pretty good. Second half was really good. The first half, there were spells that were good, but also spells that weren't so good. Marriott didn't really get any service though.
Service as usual.
Yeah, that was the problem today. I think he would have been more effective after if he would have if they'd have left him in and brought on one of the other two strikers. You know, when they when we made the moves in the midfield, when we changed the midfield, we brought Rathbone in. I think our service got better, and I think he could have made a little better. It would have been a little better game for him, but they brought him off. So, but yeah, let's see. Oh, Brian Burton, you already missed it. I already talked about it. You have to go back. You got to go back and find out what I have to go back and find out what I thought about Scar. No. Anybody else? Nothing. Nobody else really stood out. Bad or good. I thought Evans came into the game, was playing really well there towards the end. He was pinging some balls around at one point. Yeah, he was picking out some really good passes. You forget how good he is because he's been out of the team so long.
Yeah, good enough to certainly be reconsidered for when it's suitable to put him in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And Mo Fall. I
Not ready.
He's got to get away from those silly little. He tries those flick-ons and he's got to stop that. He's got to break that. He's not there yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's not good enough yet.
No, I want to. I like that he's trying it, but I'd like to see him just be confident on the ball and just make good, solid passes. Try not to be so cute because he's giving the ball away too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sorry. My main thing is I think I'm just looking forward to the league game, the next league game Saturday. Like I'm excited to see what our starting 11 is. I'm excited to see a full force with the new players, and we've had training, we've had games together, and really, I'm just excited to see how we play and how it goes. That's my main feeling about things right now.
Okay, let me ask you that, Patty. You may have already touched on this. Do you think he'll make any changes to the Crawley team, or will it be that team?
Mostly that team. Yeah.
What changes do you think you would possibly make? I could see AO playing. I could see AO in goal.
Yeah, I think it's certainly going to cause waves if he's not. There will be more media questions as to well, how is he still injured or too early if you're playing him in cup games, but you're not playing him in league games. But you can avoid those questions too. And you can tell your own media, don't fucking ask them. But
I don't know.
But yeah, look, maybe he should be back in. I think, yeah.
I think, other than that, I think
Brunt?
it'll be this. I think Brunt played, didn't he? Didn't he play against Crawley?
Did he play in that one? Okay,
I think he did. I think it was Brunt. Maybe not.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was Brunt, O'Connell, and Max. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
If not, Brunt should be playing.
Yeah, no big surprises, I think.
Yeah, no. The only one that I would question would be, do you play Dobson and James? That would be. I hope he doesn't, but I think he will.
Yeah.
I'd still say I still would like to see Lee and Rathbone, and then with either or James or Dobson as the sixth, either one. But something tells me we're not going to get that. We'll probably get them both. I just think it's just too defensive. I think it's too defensive of a midfield when he's got them both in there. But that's just my opinion. So
yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's all I got.
Yep. So we can all we've done Jesus. Sorry. Well, we've done the hard work now. Then it's just a easy game and then off to Wembley. So guys, on that bombshell, get yourselves ready for Wembley. Because there's like a 0.1% chance that we're not going to play Birmingham in the final. Take care, everybody.
They're going to clip you up. They're going to clip you up. And on that bombshell,
we're out of here.